Okay, here is a tutorial on registering for a trip in 2023. So I'm going to go to the humanitarianxp.org website and then hit login to get to the registration portal. You can start by reading all about trips and registration. I would highly recommend looking into all of this. You can look at our tips for picking a trip if you don't know exactly which one you want to do, and also look into how registration week works. You'll have the full day on your given registration day to do your stuff. And then I'm going to go in and add a person. I will start by adding my builder, Wednesday Adams. And I'm going to go in and put her birthday in, her gender, and then I'm going to add a parent. Whether you're going with a parent builder or not, you do have to have a parent at home attached to your account. So I'm going to go in, put Morticia's age as well and gender, and then if she wanted to go on a trip, she could go in, click here and add Wednesday, but because she's not going to go with Wednesday this year, I'm going to deselect that. If I wanted to add Wednesday's little brother Pugsley, I could do that as well. I'm going to add in his birthday here, and it looks like he cannot go on a trip this year because he's not going to be within our age range by the first day of the trip. So I'm going to go in, delete him, and then I can go back to looking for a trip for Wednesday. So I'm going to start by looking at Argentina. This one is cold and it's in South America, so it's perfect for Wednesday. I go to add the trip and it looks like I have to create an account in order to start doing that. We don't send a confirmation email here, so make sure that your email address is correct so that you're able to access the account in the future. I'm going to go in and create Morticia's password. It's better if you have an uppercase, lowercase, letter, special character, and number that's at least 6 characters long. So I'm going to sign up, and now we're good to go to add that trip. So it's now up in her cart. If you're looking at Argentina, you can see there's no vaccines required. You can look into the price and what is included and not included in the cost of the trip through this blog post here and kind of see what other costs you need to account for. You can also look at the airport they're flying out of, the project details, and what you're going to be doing for service there. You can also look at what temple we're going to be visiting, and then the general type of sightseeing activities and a more descriptive look into that. You can also look at past trips, or if it's a new trip, on Instagram and see what the day-to-day looks like. So I'm now going to go in, add Chile. This is a similar trip to Argentina, so she's excited about that. And then I'll go through and continue to add trips to her account until we have at least 10 preferences in here. So I'm going to keep scrolling through, adding trips. And once we're to our 10th trip, let's see, she's going to go to Peru. You can add that. It will tell you that you can only submit 10 preferences. In this case, we're going to go in and add 2 additional ones, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So you've got your top 10 preferences, which if you just hit submit, will go in there. But you've got other saved trips at the bottom that you can also adjust. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to move around the preference order and go and delete those other things. Morticia has no trips because she is not going on a trip this year. And then I'm going to look at which parent will own the account. That's going to be Morticia, and I can move along. It talks a little bit about the lottery system, which you can look into, how that works, and what it looks like if you end up on the wait list. So now I'm going to go to the checkout and enter everyone's contact information. We're going to get her email, her phone number, and address. Mark that mailing address as the same, t-shirt size, grade, and school. And then we can do the same thing for Morticia. These are going to be the 2 emails that we send all information to. So make sure that those emails are correct and that those are the ones you're going to be checking. After you hit continue, you'll have to hit submit. It will save your contact information, and then you can go through, look at your preferences one last time with dates and prices and make any adjustments. Looks like it's actually going to work for Wednesday to go this June 13th or 14th week better. So I'm going to adjust that and go into our policies. You're going to want to read all of these policies in depth. The deal breakers talk about the typical things that will get people taken off trips. If you look at this, you have to have your name typed exactly as it appears when you applied in order to check that box. Refund policy talks about payment deadlines, travel protection. This is something we suggest in case you need to cancel your trip before you leave. We aren't a travel agent or an insurance agency, but you can look at some of these options that fit what we think you would want. You can look at our payment policy and refund policy and then agree to those as well. Contingency plans, this is what will happen if we have to cancel a trip for any reason. And then you can look into the CDC health information for different locations. We're going to look at Argentina because that's what she's most excited about. Vaccines, this year we're going to not be requiring the COVID vaccine for everyone, but complying with travel guidelines of areas we visit. So make sure that you are looking at that and making sure that if there are any required vaccines that you've got those. And again, making sure her name's spelled correctly. This builder agreement is a good one for Morticia to look into because Wednesday's kind of a troublemaker, and so she needs to make sure she knows what you have to agree to. These first things are going to be all Wednesday's information, and then we're going to sign Morticia's name at the end and throw in Wednesday's as well. So make sure you look at that. And then at the end, you'll get to this payment page. If you see that it's loading and loading, you might have pop-ups blocked on your computer. So I'm going to show you really quick how to allow pop-ups so you can pay your final price. So go up to preferences and then privacy and settings. You're going to go down to site settings and then scroll all the way down to pop-ups and redirects. Make sure that sites can send pop-ups and use redirects, and then you can hop out of there and refresh the page. At this point, it will say it's loading. And then checking balance, and you can go ahead and make that payment. So once you put your payment information in, you are done and all ready to go. That next night at midnight, we're going to run the lottery, and Wednesday will know where she's going on her trip by 10 a.m. the next morning.